Alright then guys, this is going to be a really quick video just looking at the evolution of magazines, because magazines are quite a big part of your exam. Obviously there's something that can come up for component 1 section A, but it's also likely that you're going to be doing the magazine option within your coursework within component 3. I know that that's the option that my students do because I tend to find it the easiest one to get the best marks out of. So it's useful knowing where magazines lie in terms of our history. So one of the earliest magazines to be published was People magazine in 1731. So they've been around for hundreds of years now, and the People magazine still exists today. Now, even though there's a lot of differences, it hasn't changed as much as you might think. So what I've done is I've found 2 copies of Men's Health. One's from 1987 when they first started publishing, and the other one is from 2019. And what we're going to do is to have a look at the similarities and differences. Now I'm going to rattle through these pretty quickly, but what you guys can do if you like, and it's something that I get my students to do in a lesson, is to pause this video and to make a list of the similarities and differences that you can spot yourself. Okay? So, in terms of our similarities then, the masthead is still a red serif font. That's something that's obviously become iconic and is known now as part of the brand identity for the magazine. So we can start to see how these mastheads are really important in terms of selling a magazine itself. Also, because it's about men, we expect to find a male model in the centre of the magazine, and the fact that they are still positioned centrally is obviously something that's become conventional for this particular magazine itself. Now there's a similar colour scheme of reds and yellows, so we can see that there's quite a bit of red, yellow and black in the 2019 edition, but there's also red and yellow in the 1987, was it 87 version, at the top of the page. Health as a theme can be seen in the cover lines, although that we can see there has been a bit of a shift which we might want to talk about in the differences section. And even though they are similar, even though they are from different periods, the layout of the cover lines is similar. They're going around the cover star, okay? So none of them go across his face, none of them really go across him in, sort of fully. They may touch him, or they may sort of be 1 or 2 letters, perhaps going over, particularly in the 2019 version, going over arms, but they don't go on top of the model, they go around him. Okay, now obviously a major difference is that the background colours are really different, and I think we would all agree that the 2019 version just pops a little bit more because that white background is so stark in comparison to the rest of the content that is on there. We've also got the publishing company's name at the top of the 1987 edition, so we can see that this is a presentation by such and such. It's too small for me to read at this level, guys. Okay, I am slowly going blind, but you guys can have a look on the previous slide for that. Okay. Also, we've got a very clear difference in the way that men and their style have evolved over time. There's been a major shift, and this will link into the next bullet point as well, so I'll bring it up now. There's been a shift from focusing on health in terms of how good your skin is, how you look, what clothes to wear, how to lead a good lifestyle, to being about fitness, which is what we've got in the 2019 edition. So we can see that over time their style has evolved, not only in the way that they look, but also in the things that matter to men as well. Okay, and the 2019 magazine seems far more aggressive than the magazine from 1987. If we have a look at the body language, the actual language itself, the size, the shape, the style of fonts, it all seems much more aggressive in 2019 than it does in 1987. Obviously, because it has more competition now than it did before. So we have to think about why these changes happen in order for us to answer the exam questions effectively. Obviously, it's important for us to know with magazines anyway, but when we get to question 2A in that first paper, that first exam, that context question might focus in particular on history and how history has influenced magazines. So we need to think about why this evolution occurs. Okay, now there's several reasons. One, the audience. If your audience changes, you have to change to meet their demands. It's as simple as that. But also, the social norms for that audience need to be reflected in the magazine, because there's no point publishing things that were relevant in 1987 today. The audience just aren't going to find them as relevant. Equally, if there is a crisis happening at the time, such as the obesity crisis that's going on now, that's going to feature and is going to form a part of what appears on these front pages, which is why we've got this shift into fitness compared to just the general day-to-day living. Changes in printing have occurred as well. So now we've got more space that we can play with. Space is at a premium. The more we pack it out, the more likely we are to sell copies, and then we make more money. Equally, changes in design and technology also influence the way that things look. So it's much easier now to make a front cover digitally than it was in 1987. Hopefully that makes sense for you guys. I know there's not a lot of key terms. Our little bubble is looking very sparse today, okay? But if there's anything in there that you didn't understand or that you'd like me to go through in more detail, send me a message down below in the comments section or get in touch with me through Twitter at media_revision. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. And if you hit the bell icon next to it, then you get instant notifications every time I upload a new video. I'll see you guys later for the next video.